Hi, welcome everybody to the live Q&A for January 11th, 2021. I just want to come on and play with you all today and see what questions you have about ascension, about healing, about life, about spirituality. And we're just going to take a little bit of time so people can jump on the line. This is a new live, so we'll take a couple moments to get people joined. While we're waiting, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Macaya Miracle. I'm the co-creator of Accelerated Light Healing, which is a system of healing to change whatever is not working for you in your life and to start creating what it is that you'd like to have in and as your life. I've been practicing energy healing for over 15 years. I have been studying it and practicing every single day. It has been the main focus of my life. It excites me. I enjoy it. I love being able to help people change what's not working for them. Because what I'm here on this planet to do is create as much bliss and joy for everybody as possible. So I'd love to know who's here to play. If you just put your name and where you're from in the chat box, that would be amazing. And what I'd like to do is just open it up to questions today. Whatever you want to know about ascension, about spirituality, about life in general, I'm here because I just want to show up for you and play today and see what kind of magic we can create. Because with Accelerated Light Healing, whatever change that we create on a personal level, we are creating on a global level. It ripples out and changes the entire world. So whatever your questions are not only going to help you, it's going to help a lot of people here today. So let me just take a look and see who's here to play today. I see Shelly from Salem. Welcome, friend. I see Crystal from the US. Hi, friend. I see Stephanie. Welcome. Yeah. So we're in a brand new year, 2021. This is a year of intense possibilities. 2020 was kind of like a cocoon. It was like where people hibernated. The whole world, unprecedentedly, hibernated in a cocoon. Just as a caterpillar goes into a cocoon, transforms into a beautiful butterfly. That's what we all get to do this year. on an individual level and a collective level. When momentum builds up, I'm gonna get all physics on you for a minute. When momentum builds up on anything, that object just stays pointed in the same direction, going and going and going and going and going and going and going. And that's what's been happening on this planet for thousands of years. All these little ways of being, all these little ways that we do life have just been building momentum and building and building and building and going and going and going and going and going. And problem is that is when something has so much momentum behind it, it is really hard to change directions. You know, think about like if you threw a baseball really, 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 really far, how easy would it be to change the direction of that baseball mid-air? Not that easy. If you try to do it with your hand by yourself, you probably get pretty hurt. But what happens when the ball, you throw a ball, it goes a ways, and then falls to the ground and eventually stops. Once the ball has gone after it's had that momentum and it's slowed down and it's stopped, it's come to rest. Then how easy is it to change direction of where the ball is going? Well, really easy. You just pick it up and throw it in a new direction. And that's what 2020 was. This interrupt of all the momentum behind all the ways that we do life on this planet. And so now we get to pick that ball up and put it in a new direction. Am I saying everything was bad? No, I'm not saying everything was bad. But there were a lot of things that needed to be changed and still do. We as a collective, as humanity, as stewards of this planet, and literally stewards of our own race, need to make some changes. So we can be sustainable here on this planet, so we can all thrive. Not just some of us, not just the lucky ones, and not just human beings. The entire planet needs to thrive for us as a species to survive. old structures have to fall away, and it doesn't mean that they have to be completely destroyed. They at least have to be transmuted into something that works for the common good of, again, all life on this planet. So I'm talking about governments and organizations that have a lot of power in the world, big companies. And now we actually have the energetic momentum to do that. A few weeks ago, Saturn and Jupiter aligned with the Earth and multiple other planets, actually, giving us this pull. Not even like we have to force things to happen, but just effortlessly be pulled into our next level of what it is we're here on this planet to do. And why I'm saying that is because it is the biggest thing that will create the greatest change for you and everybody else on the planet is by you living your joy. Whatever it is that brings you joy. It's something simple like taking a walk in the woods. It's something creative like making art, making music, dancing, hugging people. Whatever it is that your spirit, your soul, your infinite being, your true essence desires to express and experience on this planet. When you are doing that, that's what will create the greatest change. And I'm not saying that has to be exclusive of anything you're already doing in your life. I'm not saying quit your job and move to the beach, unless that's what you really want to do and it makes sense for you. There are some things you still need to do in this world, like for a lot of people, pay rent, buy food, buy groceries, etc. But the more and more time you can spend each day being in your joy, that's what's going to change that's what's going to create the most change for everybody, including you. And it's going to ripple out. So the question I'd like you to ask yourself every single day, what can I do today that would bring me more joy than I ever imagined possible? Once you ask it, you just let that energy come in, fill up your entire body and being. And you may get some awarenesses right away. Like, oh, I could go do that. I could do that. Make a picture. Or you might just get the energy and the feeling of it. And that's totally fine too, because that is you becoming the vibration of whatever is the answer to that question. What can I do that would bring me more joy today than I ever imagined possible? And then by you being that vibration, you'll end up vibrating that into your reality and it will just come in effortlessly. Ellie has a question. How long The energy of Jupiter and Saturn, their alignment working for humanity. That's a great question, Elliot. About 20 years. We're going to be riding this wave for a long time, and it's going to break down a lot of structures. It's going to be guiding us, guiding all of humanity to their true. I don't really like to use the word purpose, but let's go with true soul's expression. Because whatever it is that you came here on this planet to do, to bring your gifts, your talents, on a soul level, not just a physical level, but on a soul level, whatever that is that you came to express here on this planet is why you're here on this planet. And when everybody starts expressing from that place, we're going to see a lot more harmony here, harmonious living. And I can imagine that we have two directions that we can go with all of that. And I'm not sure which one's going to win. And I don't even think it matters, as long as we're doing it in a way that is sustainable, again, for the planet and for all life here on the planet. But one is, going back to more tribal style living, where you're in a group of people, a large enough group of people where there's enough skills held by the group of people that can support everyone in the tribe or the community. The other option is we have certain things automated via technology, and maybe continue living the way we have been living, but I can imagine that even going that direction, we're going to start seeing more community style living situations. And some people say, well, there's not enough room for that. Well, that's not even completely true in the slightest. Overpopulation is a total lie. The only problems that overpopulation creates is when there's overpopulation in a specific area. If everybody on the planet lived in buildings as densely packed as New York in the United States, the entire world's population could fit living on the island of New Zealand. And so overpopulation is a total myth. It's a total lie. And we have the ability to spread out over the planet and start living and creating communities in big ways. We've found ourselves in, in more and more isolation over the years. It's easy to do that. But it's not the healthiest way to live on a spiritual level and on a physical level. And for humanity as a culture and a race to survive, we're going to have to open up to more connection and be open to more and more love, both being love and receiving love. And so, talking about those two paths I was talking about, I said a little while ago, like, everybody's going to have to work towards living their bliss, their passion, and doing what their soul came here on this planet to do. And let's just take a very mundane thing in those two paths where I said, one, we could have communities, I said tribes, but we'll just call them communities, that are large enough, that have enough people, that have enough skills to sustain the entire community. Or we could either live as we are living, or have communities where there's a lot of technology automating things. So, for example, let's take the simple thing of needing shoes. Very mundane. Lots of people on the planet need shoes, especially with roads and sidewalks, etc. When you're living out in nature, it's not as big of a deal. But when you're living in cities where there's lots of concrete and tar, shoes are a very good thing to have. There are people that is their passion, that is their gift, that is their talent, that is something that they're really good at and really excited about. Making shoes. And so when I talk about a community of people that have all the skills to support the entire community, you would need a shoemaker in that community. Or, maybe you're trading with other communities. On the other hand, you could also use technology to automate that. I'm not in any manner for artificial intelligence, and that's not what I'm talking about. But I'm talking about, machines programmed to make shoes. And you could probably go to this machine and just type in your shoe size and hit enter, and it would press a new pair of shoes for you right there. That would be really, really beautiful, really glorious, really easy. So many things are going to change when we move beyond money on this planet. And I'm not saying that is going to happen tomorrow. I'm not sure when it's going to happen, but I know it will happen. But you'll be able to see what I'm talking about. People living their passion, people living their bliss. A lot of jobs are going to become irrelevant. Accountants, for example. That will no longer be a job, period. Because there won't be anything to account. There won't be any money issues, any tax issues, none of that. And so those people will be, I'm not going to say forced, I'm going to say inspired to find their bliss, their passion, what it is that they're actually excited about sharing with the world. Because they may have forgotten. Or they may have, had to work so hard to get to where they were and focus all their attention on accounting in this example. And there's nothing wrong with being an accountant, especially if you love numbers. And maybe there's something that you can do with numbers still that is very exciting if that is your passion. But they may find that they're really great artists or really great dancers. And some people think, like, what's going to happen? Why would anybody do anything if they're not getting paid for it? Why would somebody still make shoes if they don't have to? Why wouldn't everybody just go line the beach all day, every day, and do nothing? People aren't wired that way. We never have been. When there is nothing to do, the brain looks for how do we evolve humanity? How do we contribute? How do we serve humanity? And the natural flow of that has been obscured from most cultures, because that's not the question that people have been asking. The question people have been asking is, how do I survive? How do I avoid suffering? So they go to school, get a job. Maybe they go to school, get a job that they may or may not like, may or may not care anything about, so they can survive. But they're not asking the question, how can I contribute to the evolution of our race? That's what every living being on the planet is. It's in our DNA. How do we evolve everything for the next generation? And if you're on this live stream, I know that you're doing a really good job at that. You're doing a great job bringing your consciousness, bringing your awareness to the planet, just by being you. So when those stresses are lifted, sorry, not stresses, that's not the word I want to use. When those necessities are lifted, the necessities of needing to work to make money so you can buy food and have shelter, people will actually start to get in touch with what really brings them joy, with what really brings them peace, with what they know that they have to contribute to the world. And not only know that they have it, but they have to contribute it to the world. Not out of a place of obligation, but from a place of soul presence. Like their soul, their spirit will command them, like, hey, this is why you're here. Go out and do that. And people may may or may not get that right away. Probably won't. There will be a transition period. What that looks like, nobody knows right now. But if we, hold the highest vision for that, of it being the easiest and most joyful transition possible, that's what I'd like. Let's stay in bliss as we're doing all of this. Let's see. Shipra asks, how do we know and follow our soul purpose? That's a great question. And it's exactly what I've been talking about here. Once you strip away the necessity of the necessity to do something just to make money, just for your survival, then you can get in touch with what your soul truly desires to express on this planet. And the easiest way to do that is just ask this question. What brings me so much joy that it doesn't even matter if people pay me for it? What brings me so much joy that it doesn't even matter if people pay me for it? Then after you get an awareness around that, you ask, how can I use this to make me money? Or how can I use this to joyfully make me lots of money? That's the question I would ask. And here's the super ninja technique, is once you get one awareness around that, you keep doing it until you have a list of about 10. 10 things that bring you so much joy that it doesn't even matter if people pay you money for it. And how can you use it to make you money? And then you go through them all and just see how each one feels in your body when you consider doing that or adding that to your life. If you're talking about a career change, it doesn't have to be super abrupt. Before I got into energy healing, became a healer, I was a web developer. I was making websites since the late 90s. And that's how I was making the bulk of my money, until I was able to make enough money with my healing practice. I made the mistake of trying to dive in 100% with my healing practice. Twice. Lost all my money. One of the times ended up homeless for a little while. Short while. But I was getting fed up. I'm like, this is ridiculous. I don't need to be doing something that is not my purpose here on this planet. Why would I spend any time doing anything else? Because I knew I was here to be doing healing work with people. But when I just kind of like jumped off the cliff, it wasn't practical. It wasn't grounded. I didn't have the skills I needed or the following that I needed, the publicity that I needed to make that sustainable for me. And again, a big topic of the conversation today has been about sustainability. Sustainability for humanity, sustainability for the planet, and sustainability for yourself. You get to thrive too. And so what ended up happening is I went back to web design both times after I tried to give it my all with my healing practice. And because I realized I needed that money coming in, or it just wasn't going to work. So I wasn't going to be able to live my life the way I wanted to live my life. So instead of just making it black or white, saying one or the other, I ended up doing this. So here's web design. Sorry. Here's web design, and here is my healing practice. The amount of time and energy I was putting into each one. And so as time progressed and my healing practice started taking off, I was able to devote less and less time to my web design, more and more to my healing practice, and just kept going like this in a very graceful switcheroo where my healing practice was at a place where it could sustain me. And that's when I was finally able to give up web design as a career. So that's just an awareness to have. Like, if you have good money coming in and you have these things that you want to do with your life that you're very passionate about, it doesn't have to be an either or. It's more like, what can I add to my life that would bring me lots of money now and in the future? Use that to help you start manifesting, start actualizing you creating wealth from what you're passionate about and what brings you joy. All right. I have a gift for you all. I have a free 5D Ascension MP3 that you can download. I just put that link in the chat box. It's also right here. MacayaMiracle.com/5D-Ascension. And what I'd like you to do is just go there and get it and listen to it and let it raise your vibration. And not just once. Do it on a daily basis for a week, 2 weeks, maybe a month. And allow these energies to just kind of prop you up and propel you forward on your spiritual journey. It's a really intense activation, and it's going to bring in 5D energies that are going to elevate your spiritual vibration, elevate your mood, give you more energy, increase your energy levels. So definitely go and check that out. I do lots of classes, generally weekly. Some of them are free, some of them are paid, and you can always find out more information about those on my website, beingjoy123.com. And this is the first of many live Q&As. Well, I haven't created the schedule yet, but we're getting there. So look forward to more of these. I love you all so much. Thank you for being here. It was so great to play with you and share a download of where we're going in this new year. Thank you for being here, and have yourself an amazing day.